Chair, she's going to be up at the desk and then come over here to do a little demonstration
Okay.
for you.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming. Where are you coming from?
Vancouver, Canada.
Wow.
So I'm actually a neighbor.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, thank you for having me. My name is Lindsay Slader. I'm the VP of Regulatory Affairs for a company called GeoComply. We solely exist for the purpose of offering geolocation or geofencing services to the online gaming market. So we service operators online for sports betting, but also other things that you've mentioned today, like fantasy sports, like online lottery ticket sales, online poker, casino, and horse wagering in the states where that's permitted.
Does British Columbia have online gambling as well?
They do. It's a provincial lottery that is the sole operator. They don't have single event sports betting like what we're talking about today, but they do have a parlay betting system. So what Brian mentioned before me was that under the federal laws that exist, like the Wire Act, like the Unlawful Internet Gambling Enforcement Act, essentially states need to be their own island. You cannot have cross-border wagering occurring, and therefore there's this requirement to have a virtual geofencing system that in effect fences in the internet to allow something like sports wagering to be legal should Washington decide to do that. So our company specifically develops technology that ring fences a state, or it could even ring fence a much smaller area, like a tribal reservation, or even within the walls of a casino property. Brian had also mentioned there's the Choctaw tribe in Mississippi. They have geofencing set up for their casinos and tribal lands. So it is possible, should the state decide to do that, that it could be limited to a much smaller geographic area. What you're seeing on the map here,
Yes, it looks like
So-
raindrops coming down.
a picture is worth 1,000 words. I'm going to give you the example of what sports betting looks like in the state of New Jersey today. So we support 100% of the New Jersey sports betting market. I'll tell you that what you're looking at is sports betting, but it's also combined with online casino and poker as well. Every pin represents an individual location check. We're performing these checks basically with technology that's embedded inside a mobile app that may be on your phone or on a website. And our software that's embedded into that website or phone app is doing a couple of things, not only collecting location data that is inbuilt to your phone that you use for Google Maps, like Wi-Fi and GPS information, but we're also making sure that that data hasn't been tampered with. So there's all kinds of free tools online. As a Canadian, I like to watch US Netflix as opposed to Canadian Netflix. There's free tools to be able to do that online. I can pretty much pretend to be wherever I want to be. But for an online sports betting website, that's a huge risk, right? That's a violation of the Wire Act, of other federal laws, if a bet is accidentally taken from out of state. So you have to be looking for those tricks and tools and programs, and there's literally thousands and thousands of them. So our company essentially builds libraries of what all of these tools are and detects them in over 350 different ways. So we're essentially scrubbing that location data to make sure that it's real and that there's zero risk for an operator to take a bet and that it's really happening inside the state. So back to the map. All these red pins that you see, they're individual checks that are happening. These are people trying to access New Jersey gaming sites. All those red pins are people that obviously aren't what they're supposed to be. Yes, they're being blocked. Okay. Brooke, if you can zoom in on New Jersey, we can have a little bit of a closer look on what is happening everywhere else. So any color that is not red are people that are passing location checks. The different colors just mean what type of device they're on. So the blue ones are computers, PCs and Macs. The green ones are Android phones and tablets. And the white ones are iPhones and iPads. So Brooke's just zooming in on the Hudson River outside of New York City. This is a huge transit center where people cross the Hudson River by boat and car and train and everything else, hundreds of thousands of times a day, I'm assuming, maybe millions. You can be standing on the banks of the Hudson River. There's geolocation technology that can ensure that you're in fact on that side of the river and that you're effectively blocked as soon as you proceed towards that border. The way that the technology is designed to work to make sure that no one can bet from out of state.
Senator Conway's question.
Go ahead, Senator.
I guess I'm a little skeptical of some of this geofencing, and I don't, you have a very good presentation here, but what concerns me is what if you're on the line, the state line, at what point, you know, we have Oregon over here, which is going to allow mobile betting.
They already do. At what point, if you're in Vancouver, can you place a bet? Probably not in Oregon, but what point when you cross the Columbia River, is this geofencing able to define that clearly? So there's a gentle balance to be struck between compliance risk versus usability, right? You want people to be able to play as close to the border as possible, especially in these very densely populated areas like, the Hudson River, but also ensuring that no one can get in from out of state. So the idea is, as you approach the border, and you can still move when you're mid-session betting, right? You can be riding a train, you can be connected to the internet, and the checks will speed up as you approach that border and are designed to essentially cut you off by the time that you get there. So no one is going to be able to wager if they're on past that center line, still in the water going to New York, they're going to be cut off right before there. No one is betting in New York City. No one is betting in Vancouver, Washington on the Oregon Lottery sports betting product at all.
Do you have identification information on these individuals as well?
No, this is all done anonymously. So we're simply requested to locate the user. We know them as a user ID of digits and numbers, and then we return that information to the operator.
So if you detect somebody who's figured a way around your fence, is there any way we find them?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the greatness of the internet is that everything is traceable. So when people attempt to circumvent our controls, we literally watch the breadcrumbs unfold in front of us. There are controls in place to ensure it doesn't ever happen. But if they were ever an advanced hacker that went to great lengths and resources to try to circumvent our controls beyond any reasonable means that an average person would have, we would see it happening.
Senator Conway?
But I could ask someone to place a bet for me in this area, right? I could make a phone call into New Jersey and ask them to place a bet. We heard that when we were doing the fantasy sports. The fantasy sports people are getting bets placed in states that allow it, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, that's essentially proxy betting. If someone, there's definitely ways that you can attempt to spot that, even though as a user, you'd be violating the terms of an account. Usually we can see someone who is account sharing, meaning say the person that's attempting to bet is in New York. They log in, maybe they check out the bets, and then a minute later, someone logs in from a computer in New Jersey on that same account and they attempt to place a bet. So we have controls in place that when people jump unreasonably large distances in short periods, that they'll be proactively prevented from wagering if that should occur. And then the operator may also have their own preventative measures in place to ensure that you can't be logged in to one account from two different places at the same time.
Lindsay, do you have further information to present?
No, this is it.
Thank you so much for coming down from Vancouver and giving us this world view of how this is done. It is pretty stunning, and I really appreciate your expertise.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.